Non-conference, I thought, gave us a lot of opportunities to play a lot of different ways. Our non-conference schedule, we had some games against very athletic teams, and we also had some games against some sharpshooting teams. So I felt like overall it gave us a great foundation going into to league play. We realized that we have to play hard the whole entire game. We can't just play 2 or 3 quarters. We have to be ready to play from the beginning. So hopefully those are lessons that we will take into conference play. The first 8 games of our conference season, 7 of them are against teams ranked above us. It's a very, very difficult schedule for us. There's not really any time that we can take a break whatsoever. We know that we're going to have to play every possession of every game, and if teams beat us, they have to beat us because they're better than us, not because they outworked us. And so that's been our philosophy, and that's been our mindset going in to the beginning of the season with UT Martin on Thursday.
Considering the record you guys have coming out of non-conference, do you feel, in the way you guys played in certain games, do you feel like this team maybe gelled a little bit quicker than some of the other teams you've had in the past?
I think that it was just this team worked harder. You go back and you look at Lipscomb. We were down the entire game, found a way to win in the fourth quarter, and a lot of that was with effort and making big plays and executing. You're in Evansville, and we're dead to rights. I mean, we have not played well the entire game, and we make a huge defensive play, go down and finish a big play, win that game. I think this team found their will to win earlier than the teams of my past teams, but this team also is the margin of error is so small that we have to do everything well, and we can't take any possessions off. And I think that that's the one thing that we're still trying to grow into, is realizing that that mental and physical effort has to be there the entire time, because we still show lapses in that. Some of that is youth, some of that is inexperience, but there can be no excuses going into conference.
This is a team that went, 12 for 37 from 3 against Cumberland, and you didn't get one from Lex. Do you feel like the team is starting to turn the corner as far as shooting is concerned?
Well, we need to. Our shooting percentages still aren't good, and the fact that we're 7-4 not shooting the ball any better than we are has been a surprise. But again, go back to, and that is a great teaching tool, that effort and offensive rebounds and the little things that make the big things happen are the reasons that we're able to get those wins, because it certainly wasn't because we shot well. But that's something that's going to be big for us going into conference. We've got to be able to make shots. We've got to be able to make threes, and we've got to be able to get to the foul line and make free throws. So those are things that we're really keying on. You can only control what you can control, and sometimes you can't control whether the ball goes in the basket or not. We've got to find a way to make big shots in big moments.
How much have you guys been working on the rebounding with people like Lacey and Alexis, your two naturally your biggest players?
Yeah, well, I mean, we just have to team rebound. Rebounding is not about talent. You don't have to have an inch of talent to play. It's not about size. It's about heart. And we know that rebounding is going to be huge going into conference, because we have to limit other people's possessions. And when you give them offensive rebounds, give them second and third chances, then it takes their shot numbers up, and we need to keep those low.
Martin, a team that took Louisville to overtime. I know they were thumped a little bit yesterday by Arkansas, but they're still really good. What do you see when you look at them on film?
Well, first thing you see is Chelsea Perry. I believe at this point she's the best player in the league. She has shown the ability to score on the inside, mid-range game. She's shooting 40% from 3 as a 6'2" post player. He's played her at every position but one. She comes off screens like she's a guard. She's a very difficult matchup for us because of her length and athleticism and her ability to do more than one thing. So that's what you look at first. And then, I always believe, and I may be a little partial, but I think their glue player is Maddie. She's just a workhorse. She's going to do the dirty work. She's going to do the things nobody else wants to do. She is going to effort every single play. And that's what I talked to our kids about this morning, is if you don't match her effort, she's going to make you look bad. And so, those are two pre-OVC conference selections. But they just got a good, solid foundation. They're big. They start 3 kids, 6'2", and they're athletic, and he does such a good job. I mean, they're like a well-oiled machine. They run their stuff. They play hard. They make adjustments. They're just a really good basketball team, top to bottom.
When you spoke about, this team has such a little margin for error, for you as a coach, how much does that challenge you to be able to kind of play around with things and make sure you do get everything out of your team, compared to like I said, some teams in the past that aren't like that.
Well, I think that this is, everybody wants to talk about me used to being a high school coach. Well, I think this is one way me being a high school coach helps with this adjustment. We have to adjust our team per every game. We can't just say, this is our system, this is what we do, because what we might have done against Cumberland certainly not going to work against UT Martin. So we have to adjust, and we have to change things offensively and defensively. And being able to take players and make those adjustments is one of the things I think high school coaches have to do more than college coaches, because a lot of times college coaches has a system. We're going to play man-to-man. This is what we're going to do. We're going to guard our person, and you better guard them or it's your fault. Those type of mentalities. My mentality is different. I think we have to understand what our weaknesses are. We have to find a way to hide them as much as possible. So, we're making some adjustments this week to try to figure out ways to slow them down.
You mentioned that 7 of the next 8 conference opponents are above you guys. Is that bulletin board material something that's kind of motivating for your girls?
Well, it has to be. I talked to them about, because we got a lot of kids that have only had one year experience playing conference, and then we've got kids that have none. Macy Gibson didn't play conference last year. Lacey Hawthorne didn't play conference last year. Alexis Burpo didn't play nearly as many minutes in conference last year as she is this year. So we've got kids that maybe don't really understand. So I put it to them as it's an 18-bout heavyweight fight. They're going to throw punches at us. We're going to throw punches at them. It's going to be the last man standing. It's going to be dog eat dog every single night, and you have to match effort and intensity, and you have to raise the level of your game, and you have to have a sense of urgency every minute that you're on the floor. And so I think those are things that we will be awakened to really quickly because of how tough our schedule is.
You talked about how Chelsea Perry, I'm sure Ellie Harmeyer and Belmont is in this conversation. It's hard to not look at Macy's numbers and not see her as a top player in the conference type conversation. Do you guys have those chats, just letting her know, like, hey, listen, what you're doing is going to draw a lot of attention and make her a better player, so on and so forth?
Oh, absolutely. Macy and I talk all the time. We watch film together all the time, and she understands what I need from her. She understands the load that she carries, but she accepts that responsibility for it. And, we want her to look to score, as well as try to get other people involved. So, she has really, I think, taken a big step forward in being able to adjust to the speed of the game. She said to me at one point in the non-conference schedule, she said, it's starting to slow down for me. Meaning when she's coming off the screens and they're jamming her and smashing her, it's starting to slow down for her, which means she's starting to be able to make those reads quicker. And when she's able to do those things, she's going to get other people involved. But obviously, we still need her to score. But in conference, we would expect people to, key in on her. She is, our leading scorer and our best player.
Has she seen her full potential yet?
I don't think so, because she's still not shooting at the percentage now from 2. Our 2-point percentage is lower than it was last year. 3-point percentage is up to 40%. But I don't think she's still been able to completely put together what she can do. But I don't think people realize how much she does. She handles the ball 97% of the time. She gets us into what we're doing. She's looking to score. She's looking to get other people involved. She's guarding one of the best players on the other team. So I think that maximum potential, I always think Macy can get better because she's never satisfied. But I also think that we're getting as much out of her as I could possibly ask.
One other note on the homestand Saturday, a SEMO team, second winningest team in the league. What have they done to elevate themselves?
They've really done a good job scoring the basketball, and I think that that's one thing that gets overlooked. Defense is very important, but obviously you got to score the basketball to win. And if you look at their numbers and their averages compared to last year, they're scoring at a higher rate. I think Tecia Thompson's one of the best players in the league, without a doubt, but the other kids around her have kind of stepped up their game and stepped up their level. They're a very good offensive rebounding team, so they give themselves second and third opportunities, and they're very sound defensively. I think the level of the league play has gone up since I've gotten here. I think there's more top teams and there's more cohesiveness between the teams. There may be some bottom teams, but for the most part, you better be ready every given night, not take it for granted, because everybody in our league can beat everybody.